good morning, everyone. Welcome to Growth Mastermind Group. We're a group of entrepreneurs with mission, vision, and purpose to encourage other entrepreneurs to discover, fulfill, and unleash their potential. We are meeting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 a.m. Uh, to 9:30 a.m. And today is not going to be an exception. And today we have a superstar in the house, Mr. Brandon Cruz, that he's competing for Mr. Universe in Philippines in 1 month from now on. And he's a micro influencer, he's a business entrepreneur, and he's just a powerhouse himself. And he's gonna be ready to amaze us with some amazing knowledge about how to build a community that will love you and will buy from you. And this being said, Mr. Brandex, you have the stage, sir.
What's up, amazing people? Good evening from the Philippines. I know it's morning for most of you listening. As he said, I'm Brandex. I'm going for the competition of Man of the World. I'm the first USA representative to ever compete in Man of the World, and it's expected that over 40 countries are going to be competing. And some of the prizes are going to be working with brand deals and international brands and marketing across the globe in those 40 different countries. So I'm pretty excited and looking forward to that experience. And while I'm here, I'm definitely connecting with different brands and designers and getting the whole 9 yards situated because it's going to be a huge event. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how to build a community that loves you and buys from you. But I first want to talk to you about what is community. Community is the people that you surround yourself that are going to cause you to thrive. It is a conductive environment of growth. I would say a community can be toxic, but we're not going to talk about the toxic community at this moment. We're going to talk about the community that's there to thrive. And one thing about community is you want to go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I know that many of us use social media. Those of you listening or those of you catching the replay, you use social media. So finding out how to speak the language and the culture of that community is going to cause it to thrive. The reason they're going to love you in that community is because that's where they know you best. So the best example I have for you is on Instagram, I show up very different than I show up in my Facebook group. And in my Facebook group, I show up different than I'm on Clubhouse. And it's not necessarily that I have split personalities. It's that I know how to speak the vernacular. And when I say vernacular, I mean I know how to speak the language that is essential for who's listening, as well as I'm a brand ambassador for a Christian app. I know how to speak there as opposed to if I'm speaking on Clubhouse. It's because the people who are there want to hear more gospel-inspired messages. Here on Clubhouse, sometimes they do, but a lot of times in rooms like this, you want to hear success messages. So the way that you're speaking to your community is also the way that you're going to show up in a powerful way, and you're going to continue to grow and thrive there. And if you ever have someone in your community that's in the wrong community, but they just so happen to be there. So for instance, if someone wants motivation videos, I don't do motivational videos on Instagram anymore. I do that in a private Facebook group. So what do? I put on my story and I say, who here wants to see a motivational video on self-worth? And from there, I pivot them from my story on Instagram, where they're just going to see modeling, they're going to see Man of the World, they're going to get inspirational quotes, but they're not going to get the meat of the brand until they go into the Facebook group. So when you're building a community that loves you, it's because you're also speaking a language that they love. I recently created a Sorry, somebody just called me. I actually had the Instagram page before, and I had stopped using it, and I rebranded it, completely shifted it, and I now have it. It's called Body by Brandex. It's one of my health and fitness pages. Because I'm currently in the preparation of a male pageant and preparing for all of that, I don't want to have too much business on my campaign. I separate them. So because I have it separated in my Body by Brandex page, whoever's following that page is speaking the language of health. Are you seeing how these shifts? You want to put people where they want to hear you. And if you see it in with a lot of top speakers, they find out, okay, what is it that you're interested in? I'm also a John Maxwell mentee, and I went through his courses, and I saw that in the beginning of his courses, he finds out, what do you want to learn? And as you're building a business, building a brand, building a community, you have to figure out, what do they want to hear? A lot of times we want to kind of present whatever we want to say, and that's great. But you also got to find out, what is the language that they want to hear in this specific community. I read a book by John Maxwell. It says, everyone communicates, but few connect. And a big part about it is sometimes we're so concerned about how do I sound, as opposed to what is the value that I deliver in this room. And he was saying, like, after we're done speaking, at times we're like, oh, how did that sound? Instead of saying, how did it sound? What did you connect with? One of the powerful ways to figure out where your community should be, and I like to use Instagram because that's my platform that I've grown the biggest. I'm at 23.6 thousand followers now. And when somebody follows me, I like to say, hey, thank you so much for following my page. What brings you to my page? By asking what brings you to my page, I'm now understanding, what language do you want me to speak? If someone's like, oh, it's because I saw you do a health thing on YouTube, like, oh, well, then check out my Body by Brandex page. Or if someone's like, oh, I saw that you do branding and marketing, I'm like, oh, well, check out Branding by Brandex. Oh, it's because you do a lot of motivational stuff. Okay, well, stay on this page. But just so you know, if you go to my Facebook group, you're going to get way more content from there. You see, when you start to speak the language, you speak their love language, and their love language is value. So the way to build a community that loves you is to speak and add value to what they want to hear. And a lot of times it gets difficult because there's so much that you want to say, but you're not putting it in the way that they want to hear it. So for instance, the way that you show up on Instagram versus the way you show up on Facebook is also different. Why? Because chances are, on Facebook, you're not necessarily seen as a celebrity. You're seen as the person who lives in the same neighborhood or went to high school with these people. So the more you're showing up in a powerful way, it's just going to kind of get applauded, but it's not going to produce the business at the same way. So when you show up on Instagram where it's complete strangers and they get to experience you, you might get better return from it, because it's not people who know you too well that they just like are like, oh, okay, that's just Wanda from down the street, or that's just Tabitha. It just depends when you're showing up in these spaces how you show up. Also, sometimes when you show up on Facebook, they want to see your family, they want to see your kids' graduation, they want to see you celebrating the third grade party, whatever it is that you're doing. They want to see all of that. On Instagram, not so much. On Facebook, they want to see the collage of 20 photos. On Instagram, not so much. On Facebook, you could put up photos that you took from your camera and did not edit at all. On Instagram, not so much. So when you're figuring out how to speak these languages, you actually can cause them to thrive and to cultivate. And I've been learning that with Facebook because I had neglected Facebook. But when I came to Asia, I realized that Facebook is the biggest platform out here, Facebook and TikTok. And now there's even one called Kumu, but that's a different story. So you got to figure out, where do you want to target? What language is necessary to speak? How do you build a community? Well, first off, realize who's following you, and are they in the right place as they're following you? Is this what you're offering them the value to grow? Obviously, show up as the same person in every single space, but the way that you could be a teacher, right? But if you're going to teach third graders versus you're going to teach college elite students, you're going to speak differently. You're still a teacher, but the way you're speaking is differently. When you understand how to do that with your community, you also understand the culture and the language that is essential for your community. So for instance, here on Clubhouse, I'm going to articulate my words because it's an audio app. On Instagram, I could just kind of be like, hey, what's up, amazing people? It's just a different flow. And it's not a very big difference, but it's just the way that you're showing up. It's the connection that you have with people. One thing that I've been doing since I am preparing for this world competition is I don't show up the same on an Instagram story as I used to before. Why? Because I've amped up the level of professionalism of how I'm showing up online, because I'm going for this global public figure role. But in my Facebook group, people have seen me just wake up and give a full conference on self-worth, rolling out of bed, but showing up, and because they are my community that has more access to me. And a big part of community is knowing what level of access do they have to you. who deserves that access. And one thing about community is whoever listens to you for hours loves you. So if people listen to you, I heard a quote or a fact that if people listen to you for 7 hours, they are forever a supporter. And I see it because when I listen to motivational speakers, the ones that I've listened to for 7 hours are like my internet best friends. Because if I can listen to you for 7 hours, so for instance, here on Clubhouse, you speak 7 days in a row for an hour, and someone sits and listens to every single topic that you do. You're going to be they're going to be very connected to you, connected to your brand. They're going to want to know all the different things you offer. But from there, you have to find out, because if they're going to buy from you, are you offering what they want? And as now that we're pivoting into the topic of they love you, but will they buy from you, is do you have something that's going to solve their problem? You may think you have the greatest product in the world, but if it's not going to solve their problem, or they don't see it as an answer to their problem, then they're not going to want to buy it from you. And one of the most powerful things you have to do as someone who moves a product or moves a service, whatever it is find out why someone should even listen to you. When you're building a community, why should they listen to you? What value do you bring to the table? When you're putting up a post on Instagram, what causes you to be so powerful that people should stop their scroll? Because we live in a very stimulating age where we're just scrolling with our fingers until something stimulates us, right? And that's why reels have drawn so much attraction, because instead of being a stagnant shot, it's a moving video, and it catches you and moves you, which I do encourage you, if you use Instagram, even Facebook or TikTok, start making those reels and start testing out the language of what people want to see and hear. If you notice on my Instagram, a lot more stuff has just been more modern music with modeling style suits and whatnot. But those videos, before my videos were getting 1,000 to 2,000 views, those videos are getting 6,000 to 8,000 views. I'm going to keep speaking that language because that's what they want to see, and that's going to amplify what I'm doing for my world competition. But in my Facebook group, I create polls, and I've realized that a poll draws the most attention to the group. I have over 80 countries there, but to gather in 80 countries to have a conversation is a bit difficult, and a lot of shy people dealing with low self-esteem, not wanting to be active and all of that. That's why they're there. So then for them to even write a comment, it's uncomfortable for them to show up and write a comment, because then they're seen, and these are people who enjoy being invisible. But when I make a poll, they hide behind other people's answers, and it gets exciting, and it draws the algorithm. You see, if you don't understand the language on how to communicate in a community, and it even has the word communicate, community, if you don't understand the language on how to communicate in a community, then you're going to feel like your community sucks. You're going to feel like your community's dry. You're going to feel like, oh, these people don't love me. No, it's not that they don't love you. It's that they don't understand you. And that's one of the most important things, is figuring out, do they understand where you're coming from? And now, when it comes to the topic of buying from you, have they even heard? Right now, I'm launching a 75-day challenge, and I just decided, like, hey, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to promote it on my main page, on my health page, on my Facebook, on my WhatsApp. I'm promoting it everywhere and contacting my leads. Why? Because I have a set goal. I want to reach 100 people doing the 75-day challenge, and I'm going to contact as many people as I can this week to get them set up for next week. And in the process of that, this week that I'm communicating, I'm making sure that every previous lead who's ever been coached by me, anybody who's part of my communities of health or fitness or mindset, are going to find out that this is being offered. You can't say, oh, nobody buys from me because I put up a story and nobody responded. When it's something, for instance, I work with weight loss and mindset and just transformation of life. If you need a transformation, chances are you also need a push to be transformed, because unless you're at a breaking point, you're not just gonna be like, oh yeah, I want to do this. Majority of people, that's not how it's going to work. Same thing with finances, same thing with all these other transformation, success coaching, all these things. People don't realize that they need it. Sometimes they need to have a conversation before they buy from you. So in the process of it, have a conversation with people. Ask people, hey, have you been keeping motivated and active? And in that moment, they're like, well, you know what? Not so much because of this. And I'm like, well, did you know that I'm offering a 75-day challenge? And you know how many, it starts closing Super easy. Deals start closing because I first asked them, have you? Okay, then that's a problem. Here's a solution. It's not that you're bad at sales, it's that you're bad at communicating. It's not that you lack a community, it's that you don't know how to communicate to your community. And when you see all these things together, as you notice, I do decompartmentalize them into different areas. I literally on my phone, anybody who's ever been my client, I'm going to teach you guys a hack. I literally had the abbreviations BRX. So whenever I want to contact my leads who have ever been my client, I go into my phone book and I look up BRX. And instead of sending out a massive email, I send them a personalized text message and I say, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? Yes, it takes time, but it builds relationship. And maybe they don't want to be in this challenge, but they did still want to have a conversation because I was their coach before. And being available is how people stay and love you. I know a lot of you are big fans of Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone at the 10x, not the 10x, at the boot camp that I was at, he was walking around the crowd. He was available. He was within reach of people. That's why people love him. That's why people pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to go be around him, because not only does he speak the language that they want of success, but he's also at reach. You know, sometimes we get into this mode where we think we could just put up a flyer, send out an email, and everyone's going to want to be a part of it. No, you got to be available. If you want people to buy from you, they have to feel like they can reach your hands and take it from you, and it be a personalized service. No one likes to be, I've heard this before, no one likes to be pig called. No one likes to be cow called, where you're just like, moo, all right, pigs, come on, come on. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. So what I do is I'll put up a post and I'll see who liked it, and then whoever liked it, they don't even got to comment, because it's not easy to comment and put yourself on blast that you need help. So sometimes people like it as an indirect way of saying, I'm interested, but I'm scared to let you know, or I'm interested, but I need you to push me to get to that next level. So whoever likes my posts, I message them and I said, hey, I noticed you liked this post about my challenge, something that you're looking to do. That's simple. And one thing, if you want people to buy from you, you have to remove the fear of rejection. The more that you have the fear of rejection, you're really just rejecting yourself. You're rejecting your success. You're rejecting the next level. All of those things are just going to continue to hold you back. But when you say, I know how to communicate, I know that these people love me, I know that I have something that they need, you will have a thriving community. As I told you, my platform has reached over 80 countries because of the way that I have been able to communicate. And it all really started with communicating about self-esteem. As I realized that across this entire earth, people are suffering from low self-esteem. So what is something of value is raising self-esteem. Okay, adding to that self-esteem, let's move it to a business. That's why I have a branding and marketing business. Or let's see if it's the physical lifestyle habits of high performance coaching. Let's offer that. It's an understanding what you're offering and understanding that you're communicating it and efficiently presenting it to the people that want to be a part of it. You will thrive and you will be successful. Peter, that's about all I have, but thank you so much for having me on here. And if anybody has any questions, let's do it.
Mr. Brandex, as usually, coming here with some fire on us, usually we have to use an extinguisher to make sure that we're not gonna catch it. But I appreciate you, sir, and like indeed, like I feel like like whatever you brought here, is very valuable for every single one of us that it's in the field of building communities. And not only that, I would like to kind of find out some to kind of pull out some ideas from you, on when people that build communities. What do you think is like choosing the right platform where you're gonna build your community is gonna be sounding like for different, I would say, fields, different people. But what is your process of choosing the right platform for a community?
So I would definitely say accessibility. The reason I like Facebook group, I was working with a marketing person before, and they would tell me use the Facebook group. The Facebook group is great, but I couldn't find the benefit of it, and it kind of fell off. So I had all these countries in there, but I couldn't really communicate with them, and I didn't understand how to. But then I started realizing, okay, what are the assets that I have in this Facebook group? Like, what is it going to be really beneficial? And I realized that you can schedule rooms in there. So when I did a self-worth call, I did a video on self-worth. Actually, this was the science I used. I'm going to give you guys a really good tip on a Facebook group. I first made a poll and I said, what video interests you more? What topic? Boom, boom, boom. I let them select the topic. Then after they selected the topic, I scheduled a video to do live. I got amazing turnout. That video, it maybe had like 90 people live or around that, maybe less. By the time I finished the video, only 90 people saw it, but it had over 500 comments. So it's like the engagement was out of this world. Why? Because people were prepared to see the video. I first did a poll. They answered the poll. They said that's the video they wanted. Then after they answered the poll, I did the video, and people were waiting for that video, waiting for that topic. One of the powerful things about a Facebook group is you create that hype factor, and it's closed. It's a community that people can't share that video with the rest of the world. It's only in that community. So also, when you do that, it creates exclusivity. So when I'm in an Instagram story and I said, hey, I just did a self-worth video, but unless you're in my Facebook group, you can't access it. And the cool thing about a Facebook group is it's your community. You know, Instagram is not your platform. Facebook is not your platform, but your Facebook group is your community. Every comment, everything that happens in there, it's like your land. And when you understand that you rule that whole space, you literally dominate I think it's way more efficient than an email blast, because it's just something that's more personal and people can literally give you their feedback in real time. Yeah, you could see a statistic of an email blast, but when you're on Facebook and you're seeing people engage in certain things. So, for instance, I'm going to share with you more secrets. On a Facebook group, I ask people, what country are you in? That helps me know demographic wise, what can I market to people efficiently? So if this is something that's really only a USA product, I know to go to that poll and go and respond to the people in that country or in the US, or if I'm doing something for Asia, like when I went to Manila, which I'm here now, and I did a meetup, I figured out where are people at, how can I meet them in person? But I having the data for everything, and a Facebook group really gives you that. Instagram briefly does, all these other platforms briefly do, but the Facebook group literally creates an awesome data. The other thing that gives you a lot of data is a Instagram story and a Facebook story, but it's not at the level of a Facebook group. So the reason I use a Facebook group is because of that. It's literally my own piece of land. I could create tons of mentorship videos. I could do tons of things. It's free, but people have to be a part of the group in order to enter it. And once they enter that group, they're saying, I'm interested in Brand X and I'm interested in what he has to say. That's why I picked that. With Instagram, I think of hype. So when you use Instagram, it's a faster way to go viral than Facebook, I believe. But it's a hype factor. So if you want people to see the aesthetics of your business, you want them to see your flyers, you want them to see the colors of your business, go to your Instagram. That's why I use that platform right now. Designers are trying to see if they want to work with me. Dentists are working. All these people are working with me. They're looking at my Instagram and they're like, do we want to work with this guy? Okay, yes, he markets himself well. And I know some of you are like, I'm not a model. Why would I want to do that? Well, what about your testimonials that you have on there? It's going to be a lot easier. Instagram is a lot easier to find something. A Facebook group can be easier, but some people are not going to even make it to your Facebook group. They don't know if they like you yet. So they're going to go into your Instagram and see, do I like this person? Do I want to connect with them? Do I want to follow them? That word is powerful. Whoever's following you likes you one way or another. And if they like you, they want to keep seeing your stuff, because people unfollow all the time. And when it comes to TikTok, for those of you who have a value business where you add value, there's a benefit when you're not looking like a Gen Z or millennial and you're adding value, because people sit and listen and honor the wealth of knowledge and say, hey, they've been through this. They're going to save me a headache. So if you ever make a TikTok video, you say, hey, let me give you 3 tips before you make these mistakes like I did. They're going to sit and they're going to soak that up and they're going to love you. And I've seen it countless amount of times. So knowing what you want to do, the demographic you want to speak to, you can sell on TikTok. I don't recommend it. I would say sell on Instagram, Facebook group, or Facebook. But with TikTok, you can grow your brand where more people know, like, and trust you. And you might end up funneling in other people that can buy from you as well. Or you can go viral, have an ebook that goes viral along with it. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but that's my tips.
Indeed, sir, absolutely. And if anybody has any other question, please feel to join and before I'm gonna ask my next question because I have a few more. But I want to give the opportunity for others to ask questions. So if you have any question, Tabitha, I saw you flashing the mic.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here this morning, Brandex. It's always an honor to have you join our stage. I just wanted to say, what a golden nugget. Well, I mean, you've given several. I'm taking notes here. And I don't always take notes on Clubhouse rooms, but I'm taking notes because I have watched you grow over the last, I don't know, I'd say maybe year that probably less than that, 6 months that we've known each other. But the gold nugget was when people start following you. I think that is worth repeating. So when someone starts following you, what do? Your reaction you gave in the very beginning.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you figure out, it was funny because Wanda earlier said it's you put them into the container of where they want to be a part of. So when someone follows you and they want motivation, okay, stay here, but if they want more motivation, they go into your Facebook group. Or if someone's like, oh, I wanted the health and fitness tips, you have a great body, how can you help me? I take them into my face my other Instagram page and my Facebook group. So you figure out, but a lot of it, it's kind of like, why are they following you? So it's not about when someone follows you, it's why are they following you? And once you understand why, you can connect the dots for them. And that's how you can figure out how to speak their love language as well and make sure that every time you're communicating with them, because it's awesome with Instagram DMs, it can have messages from like 2017, and you could always go back up and it reminds you of the data of the last conversation, and you could always go back to why are they following me, and you keep it there. But maybe they follow you for one thing and end up liking you for something else. It's all about reading that language, and that's why creating the polls helps you big time. So if you ever get a ton of followers, finding out why those people are following you is extremely important. I've had to do it. I've done live videos with people, with big influencers, got like 100 followers right after, and I messaged every single one and found out why are they following me, and I closed tons of different client deals with that. If not, I could have just been like, thanks for the follow, and no, I said, hey, what brings you to my page? And they were like, oh, you were just on this person's live video and it was amazing. Oh, what did you connect with the most? So being able to speak that language with them is really what causes the shift.
That was so powerful. So I hope you guys took notes. And I wanted to ask for the replay purposes. I know many people on Clubhouse go back and watch the replay. And what he said was, you know, it's so funny because I was envisioning when I follow someone new and I get the message and I get just that, what you said. Thanks for following me, but no interaction, no questions. So that was powerful. And I also loved the gold nuggets that you gave about on TikTok and Instagram and the polls. In fact, I just sent my virtual assistant a message, and you guys need, and I think the purpose of is action, taking action. Oh, that was a great idea. Let me think about it. I just sent my virtual assistant a message saying, hey, we need to do this. And creating things just like this. So I really appreciate you being here this morning. It was definitely appreciated. Back to you, Peter.
Mr. Brandex, a quick question because we keep saying about replying to the person that just follow you. What is your strategy of replying to them? Are you doing personally for each person, or you create an automation? If you do an automation, how somebody that have no clue about Instagram can do it?
Okay, before I answer that, I just want to let Tabitha know. I love that you brought up your VA, because so many people have a VA, but since they don't necessarily know how to communicate to their community, they have a VA kind of sitting on the sidelines and getting frustrated with it. So that's why I always recommend people sitting down and doing like a brand consultation and really figuring out where they're taking their brand for the next 5 years. So that way your VA is responsible for the delivery of that. So if anybody listening here has just been kind of frustrated with their VA or doesn't know what's the next step, it's not that they're not doing their job, it's that they don't know what job to do, and neither do you. So it's very important before you hire a VA or work with a VA or give them a task is to be very clear on the projection of your brand for the next 5 years, because it's going to just that's how you create the system. And when you have that system, your followers also funnel into that system, and it creates just a really big momentum. So Peter, what you were saying was, I personally send the message. I personally do it. And I realize, I'm like, well, every person that follows me is a soul. So I want to make sure they're having a better day. When they're messaging me, finding a way to be like, hey, you're awesome, thank you so much for the follow, and just kind of building that relationship. When I do the copy and paste message without incorporating their name, they don't respond. So anything automated, I don't think is going to get you the best response, because even when I follow someone and I get an automated message, I could tell immediately when it's automated, and I don't really take it seriously. When I feel that someone literally just took the time out to send me a message and it's them and it's organic, it definitely, it helps. And if you don't have a million followers, you have enough time to respond to the 40 or 50 or 100 or 200 people sometime in your week to make sure that you're connecting with them, because every single person that follows you is a potential client engagement, which could be more clients. It's a potential, um, just someone who loves your brand, who's a huge fan, which you'd rather have 100 fans that support you in everything than have just some clients here of tons of followers. Like, you want to know who is a fan of your work, who is really loves you. For instance, in this room, if you had your 100 fans would be sitting here listening to this room. And also, one thing that's really important, which I've learned, with enough time, you can get those people to come into this room. So for instance, I know 2 days ago we talked about this room, so I didn't get much time to promote it. But with the synergy of letting your community know, hey, I'm going to be speaking in this room, I'm going to be doing this topic, who wants to hear this topic, and really create hype factor attached to it. Many times we don't understand the hype factor, but you have to be the number one hype man for your business and get people excited even when they have no reason to be excited. Majority of the world is apathetic, not excited about a thing. So you have to come in and create that excitement even when they follow you. Hey, thank you so much for following my page, you're so awesome. You're just going to shift their programming from just like, hi, thanks for the follow, versus like creating a relationship with them. And that's what's going to build the bond. And whenever you send somebody a DM, wow, there's so many nuggets on here. I've given away all the secrets, but it's cool. There's many more to come. Whenever you send somebody a DM and it's a personalized message, the algorithm doesn't see you like a spam bot. If you send everybody the same message, the algorithm starts shutting you down because it thinks that you're not a real human. As well as when you send somebody a message and they follow you, you're now showing up more on their timeline, because when they respond to you, it's telling the algorithm that they like you and they trust you and they want to know more about you.
Powerful, sir. Rashid, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, Peter, please. I want to confirm first whether you can hear me or not clearly.
We can hear you.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna say like some things. As you know, I appreciate you, Brandex. Thanks a million for all the fruitful pieces of advice. First of all, I'm a very beginner, uh, so I have so many questions. I am into so many things now. I have been applying for a G1 visa to be a teacher in the United States. But these days, like these previous days, I found out that I got selected for the JV Lottery 2023. So I'm gonna apply for a green card. Wish me luck. Uh, well, I wanna talk about me. I'm an English teacher, but I have been following Grant Cardone for like 5 years, and I've listened to so many motivational speakers and reading so many like personal development books and so on and so forth. So like my question now is, I have so many things. I have so many things to say, but I don't know how to build my brand. You know what I mean? Uh, so now I'm still learning. I'm still learning so many things like reading books and so on and so forth. I believe that I can be a life coach. I can change lives in here in Morocco, but I have not started yet because I believe that I have to have something to sell first to build a brand. I have not started yet, either on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. I'm gonna start as soon as possible, but I have to know some things first. So I communicate to a lot of people and they interested in me. For example, in the a few week in the last week I did a clubhouse. Last week or last 2 weeks, I'm not 100% sure because I'm in too many things right now, trying to collect my documents and papers and so on and so forth. So I communicated with the speakers from Morocco, and they liked me because, as you said, I was trying to motivate them, trying to switch their scarcity mindset and open their eyes to abundance and so many things. And they have been following me. All of them, they liked what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. I want to build a community, but I don't know what to sell or what, you know what I mean? I guess
So,
I made it clear.
Rashid, what would be your question? Like,
Well,
how to
Rashid,
build
I
a
would
brand?
I would say I get what you're saying. I actually had a high performance call yesterday about this. Rashid, what you need to do is you need to write a list of 300 desires. And when you sit down with those desires, it's going to start becoming more clear on what you want to focus on, because what you focus on, you feed, and what you feed grows. So the most important thing is you're building a business, you're building a platform, you're building a brand, is what do you want it to look like? Everything of what I have right now, I want to amplify it times a million. I don't want to have to keep changing it. And certain things that I thought, oh, I could drop this, and I was like, no, I don't need to drop this. I just need to decompartmentalize it somewhere else so it doesn't get in the way of this. So when you sit down and write a list of 300 desires, sit down with yourself. It's going to take a while, but you need to figure out, what does Rashid really want to do with his life? Because everything else that you're going to do is going to be a big distraction, and it's going to take time, effort, money, everything. And if you don't want to worry about all of that, then start building the 5-year plan in the next 5 hours. And when you sit down with your dream and your desire, then you start thinking, okay, if this is my desire, what are the main things that I want to start seeing happen in the next 5 years? The brand that you're going to show up is not the brand that just started. It's going to be the 5-year version of your brand, because the power of social media is people don't know when you just started. They just know you. They just know where they met you. People could be thinking that I've done this branding stuff for 10 years. I haven't. I've been pivoting so many things, and things have shifted. Even with modeling, I had stopped doing it for 10 years and came back on in 2018. It looks like it's been 20 years, but it hasn't. So when you understand those things, you have to show up as the 5-year version of your brand. And you never have to tell people like, oh, I'm kind of new to this, and that's an imposter syndrome. You just kind of feel like you're not deserving for the attention yet, but you are, if you already see it in a 5-year perspective. And that's the power of it. And you have to build the confidence in where you are headed, and building in the direction of where you are headed. So not knowing what your brand should look like is just saying you don't know what you want your next 5 years to look like, and you don't know what you want your business to look like. Starting now. So when you sit down and write out your desires, all of that is going to shift.
Well noted, brand X, understood. Like, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Peter, I got about 5 more minutes and I have to wrap up.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. Uh, we appreciate you, first of all, and yes, we know that your time is of essence there. You have to build some muscles to be ready for the competition and to show up there as Mr. Universe, the winner. And there's no doubt in that. Um, just as a, like as a last thought for the audience, for people that are going to listen on the reply, what do you think is the process thoughts in building a community that will love you and will buy from you as an overall um, assembly of our conversation today.
Yeah, a quick synopsis of everything that was discussed is how do you build a community? You first learn how to communicate. Community and communication are completely correlated. So if you know how to speak to the group of people, then the people will choose to listen to you. If they choose to listen to you, they're choosing to learn from you. They're also going to choose to follow you and go in the direction you're going. So how to build a community is first figure out what is the message that you want to communicate. Another way of how to build community is finding out what community do people want to be a part of. For instance, you know the app Meetup or the website Meetup, where people go and meet up based off of the community of their niche. You have to figure out what communities do you want to thrive? What form of community do you want to have? In the process of communicating to them, it is about compartmentalizing them into those spaces. So, for instance, if people want to be a part of my health community, I put them into my Facebook group or to my Instagram page. If people want to be a part of the community of the public figure and model and all of that stuff, I keep them on my main Instagram page. If people just want to see little funny dances and whatnot, then I would send them into my TikTok page. When you figure out what community they want to be a part of, when you figure out how you need to be delivering your message efficiently to that community is going to love you automatically. It's just going to be a science attached to it, the same way of that book, The Five Love Languages. It's all about how your love language is speaking. Well, the way you're communicating to those people will be their love language. If people want to lose weight, telling them weight loss tips is their love language. If people want to build their brand, speaking to people about how to build their brand is their love language. Now, how to get them to buy from you is being within reach, making sure that you're accessible. If your brand has exploded and you need to have an automated system, make sure that the automated system sounds like you. Make sure, I know somebody who sends out awesome email blasts. I know that a million people are getting it, but every time they send out that one email, I feel like they're speaking directly to me. Don't ever be robotic and people will buy from you. Don't ever just throw something and expect people to just respond. If you see people are responding, even if it's the lightest thing such as a like, or even viewing your stories all the way through. If someone viewed your stories all the way through and saw everything that you're promoting, you're allowed to go into that message and be like, hey, I noticed that you've been seeing my stories. What did you think of this challenge? Or what did you think of this? Because when somebody goes through every single one of your story, they're interested in you. So when you pay attention to all of those things, and the number one way for people to buy from you is letting them know that this is a solution to their problem. And if people are not buying from you, then you haven't clearly let them know that, hey, I know that this is going to solve your problem. And a big part of sales as well is communication. And if you want to save a lot of time, knowing what community to sell to and what to sell to that community is how you're going to have a thriving community that loves you and buys from you.
Go ahead, Tabitha.
No, I was applauding the the comments that Brandex was talking about. I loved that in order to build a community, communication and community go together. Also, just wanted to mention that Brandex earlier mentioned he had like 26,000 followers. And I just wanted to let everyone know who's listening currently or can listen to the replay, he didn't purchase any of those followers. They were all genuinely interested in following him versus a lot of people you see out there are purchasing followers. So I just wanted to put that plug out there. I appreciate you, Brandex, for being here this morning. Christian, did you have something to say, add? Welcome. Tara, Eugenia, glad to see you guys here this morning. Back at you, Peter.
Absolutely. So I just want to, like, I know that Brandon has to leave, and the last couple of words, how people they can find you, sir, how people they can support you and make sure that they're gonna be there for you, and can you please tell about Mr. Brandex himself, how they can connect with you?
Awesome. All right. So, amazing people, you could follow me here on Clubhouse, Brand X Cruise, on Instagram, Brand X Cruise, Facebook, Brand X Cruise, and TikTok, Brand X Cruise. And if you are interested in weight loss and transforming your life, I am doing a 75-day challenge. So, you can message me to find out all about that. $75 for 75 days. And it's not about perfection. It's actually about just operating in accountability, checking in on yourself, making sure you're not laying in the bed for too long and getting up and keeping active within those 75 days. On top of that, I do have a Facebook group called Brand X Journey Growth and Abundance Savages. It has reached over 80 countries, and that's where I do self worth talks. I do topics on weight loss secrets, on identity, a lot of awesome, more YouTube style videos. It's in a private community. We recently did a self worth video, got over 500 comments. Tons of people were crying watching it because it just gets really deep. That's where I get more intimate and personal with the community that wants to be a part of that. That's on Facebook. And I do have an Instagram page where I share testimonials and health facts called Body by Brandex. And one of the new things that we have launched is Branding by Brandex, where I sit down and I help people market efficiently, how to communicate to a community, how to get people to buy from you, how to write out your 5-year vision plan and really implement the step-by-step system that's going to get you there. And I am working with a website developer and marketing uh, visual and video marketing director as well, that we get people to do a launchpad program. So message me if you need that, or if you just need a clarity call, where I sit down with your brand and I help you figure out what is it that you're really trying to relay as a message, why that message is your message. Because if you don't understand your message and the reason for it, it will never come out and touch people's hearts the same way as if you truly sold on your brand. When you're fully sold on your brand, people will buy from you. And that completes my my morning announcements. Well, it's evening. It's actually 9:30 at night here in Manila, Philippines. I am the first USA representative to compete in Man of the World, and that's why I'm out here. So many blessings. I love you all. Brand X Cruise. I'm out.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you. We're gonna put the reply on, and also I'm gonna put it on YouTube just to make sure that the people that can hear from you and support you. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir, and have fun there. Okay. And with this being said, thank you everybody for joining us today. And uh, remember, this is the Grow Mastermind Group, a group of entrepreneurs whose mission, vision, and purpose is to encourage other entrepreneurs to discover, fulfill, and acknowledge their potential. We are meeting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today was one of those days. Our next meeting is going to be Friday from 8:30. And please make sure you're gonna follow the greenhouse on top and follow the moderators. It's very important and crucial for our support and also for our growth. And by the way, soon we're gonna have an announcement that is gonna be related to our Grow Mastermind Group. We're gonna finally launch our NFTs, which is gonna be just going out there and aligning with the rest of the world, that is creating great communities and supporting each other, and make sure we're gonna grow together. And this being said, I wish everybody a blessed and amazing day. And if anybody has any other comments, any other thing to add on, this is the moment. If not, see you on Friday. Tabitha, Christian, Brandex,
Bye, amazing people.
thank
Much
you.
love.
Bye, Brandix. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day.
Rashid, I saw you flashing. Did you have a question?
I have no question. I just wanna thank you so much for all this fruitful information and pieces of advice. Thanks a million.
Thank you, sir. And that's the reason we're here. So see you on Friday. Okay. Thank you, Rashid. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eugenia. And see you Friday,
Have a good day.
8:30 a.m. Wonderful. Bye. Bye, everybody.